Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Zakwan bin Muhammad Zainuddin. My matric number is 058343. I'm studying in Diploma Radiography Year 1, Sem 2. Okay, thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Akmal Rushaidi bin Azizan. Matrix number 058370. Study in Diploma Radiography, Semester 2. And today we would like to present for our assignment for Patient Care 2. And the subject code is DBR 11602.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Husni Usani Bahashim. My matric number 058975. Okay, that's all from me.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good evening to the Rahman and also others people too. So today I, as the presenter, Muhammad Rishad bin Abdullah, my message number is 058700. I'm going to present about introduction and my part also. And the next one will be continued by my friend. For example, Muhammad Rishad will continue after that. So we've got also got Akmal Rashidi. And last one will be Muhammad Husni Hussaini. So, without wasting our time, let's start. Okay, I want to present. We're going to present about human behavior, morals, principles, and theories by Ed. So, human behavior refers to a person or group and ability to react to internal and external stimuli over the course of their life, mentally, physically, and socially. Although some aspects of one's personality, temperament, and genetic may remain constant over time, other behaviors shape as one progresses through life. There are certain types of models, evolutionary model, psychodynamic model, humanistic model, behavioral model, cognitive model, social cultural model, and medical biological model. All these seven models are included in our lecture for today, but we are only highlight two, which is behavioral model and cognitive model. So behavioral model is abnormal behavior learned through the selective reinforcement and punishment. Classical conditioning we get certain type of condition in this behavioral model. We got classical conditioning, operant conditioning, observation learning, or social learning. And also the cognitive model, human beings engage in both intentions to benefit others, pro-social behavior, and phenomena in which humans fail to cope with demands of a normal social environment known as maladjusted behavior. So let me explain to you a little bit more. Behavior model is the behaviorist rejected truth theory. They believe that behavior trait does not come inborn but shaped by the environment and other influence. There are, for example, let's say we take the classical conditioning found by Ivan Pavlov, a Russian scientist, by experimenting the study of adult digestive system, but found this method. Okay, firstly, this guy right here, it's quite interesting bit about this story here. He studied about dog digestive system, but then he discovered that the dog calibrates not only on the food, also the sight, the smell, even the bowl of the food, and also the footsteps the workers fed on the dog. And then he discovered two types of environment in this including forensic experiment. They are unconditioned or unlearned, and conditioned and learned. In this case, drugs calibrate towards the milk powder, which is the food that we fed to the dog. The milk powder as UCS, we categorize it as unconditional stimulus, and we also categorize UCR, unconditional response, or the response. So with UCS, here comes the UCR. Okay, so far, I hope you all understand. But when the neutral stimulus was added, the dog was fed upon the sound of the bell. The sound of the bell here is a neutral stimulus. Okay, so means that every time we fed the dog, or with the work to fed the dog, the bell will ring upon the arrival of the food. So this neural stimulus, with addition of the unconditional stimulus, UCS plus NS, you will get reproduce unconditionally response or UCR. This experiment is repeated by him. Okay, so then now the dog candidate to the sound, even though no food was presented. Now this neutral stimulus has changed its name to conditional stimulus. Okay, so I hope you understand. And the UCR has changed its name due to conditional stimulus. The nerve is no more unconditioned, but it's conditioned response. So conditioned response is formed by the conditioned stimulus. So next we go to the operant condition. Behavior will follow either with the punishment, no punishment, either to strengthen or weaken it. Person will likely did not to do it again or vice versa. Okay. For example, here, let's say you got complimented for that day for your assignment. Let's say it's a good, let's say your assignment is good and complimented by your lecturer, and then you feel better about it. Then you will be excited, and then you will be more enthusiastic to do your assignment. For example, but like but remember in past when we are still a children, in the past 3 months maybe, I hope I think some of us or maybe some of you know the audience maybe try to take part without the parent knowledge and then got punishment for the for the guilt. And then what we do after next? We don't ever dare to do it again. So that's what called operant condition. The stimulus was given after the behavior. For the classical, it was given before, but for the operant, which was given after the behavior, was found by theory by the abstainer based on the law applied by Edward Thorndike. Next, we go through the observation learning. In this observation learning or social learning, academic process includes perception and interpretation of behavior. Does not require reinforcement or reward, but hinges of other social models. Okay, here the social model refers to someone who have authority. For example, we have headmaster, principal, maybe, or maybe top student, you know, policeman, firefighters, or maybe after models. There was close words. Alfred Bandura, the guy who created this, suggests that we chose to elicit a model behavior depends on whether we see the model was reinforced or punished by the better process. Maybe from here, let's say you see a policeman caught a thief, but then we inspired to do it, but not to caught a thief, but just to get into the case by reporting it, or maybe be the maybe the anything else about that. Or maybe see a firefighter, put out a fire and then use fire to become a firefighter also. That's observation learning. And then also we have the lesson learning. Animal or person observe and gathers information and offer rewards and punishes capable of demonstrating behavior later when there is motivation to do so. Okay. For this lesson learning here, don't get confused. For this lesson learning, just like you follow your father mowing the lawn at the back of the house, and then he gave you a toy which was exactly the same with the model of your father used to mow the lawn. Instead of mowing the lawn, and then when you do it with your father, you feel enthusiastic about it. Yeah, then you get inspired by his action. Okay, so after that, when your father stops to do it, you will start to imitate that. Meaning like when your father quit mowing the lawn, maybe due to his old age or something, you will start to do this job maybe because you are inspired of it. And next we have the reciprocal concept here. The reciprocal concept is behavior is determined or controlled by individuals, so for example, by the environment through external stimulus events. So far, I hope you all understand. Okay, for example, we have a case here. Let's say a child, boy or girl. to you to imagine it. A child doesn't like to go to school. He don't like, or maybe she don't like to go to school. So he fly classes, or maybe she or he skip classes. This action was decided by the administrators, and guess what? The administrators confront the child. Let the child admit his action of school plus this year. So because of that, he started to acting inappropriately. What the administrators do? They create a strict environment for this child. It's kind of cycle here. What I mean by cycle is, even though the administrators create a strict environment for this child, it's still a cycle because the child keep doing again and again. So still the administrator has to develop more restrict the environment for this child. For this cases, we can get that behavioral factor plus environment factor will produce continuous battle. Not that kind of battle. The battle is right here that I am explaining. So we have the cognitive behavior, a way of explaining negative or abnormal behavior as a result of arising disruptive patterns of thinking caused by cognitive processes that are not functioning normally. Negative pattern of thinking will lead to negative behavior to arise. For this treatment, usually psychiatrists will teach the patient to think differently, change their research belief, increase intelligence, or better stop the thinking one. Okay, so we have two scientists here, Albert Ellis and Keith Manson, rational emotive behavior therapy. What he meant here is he got into a computer, which is probably called as ABC model. In this model, according to him, A is represent to activating event, B is belief or irrational thinking, C as consequential. Maybe some of you will not get the bit, but let me explain here. First of all, A, activating event. Let's say you broke up with your girlfriend or maybe your boyfriend, and then what you feel about it? You feel stressed, you feel down, as a consequences. What you feel? You feel useless. You feel you're too good for the guy, or maybe something. Uh, but there's also a positive view here. Let's say the event is still the same cases. If we broke up, but then you believe you are maybe he's not suitable enough for you. Who knows? And as a consequence, you move on. It's better. Yeah, you don't have to work. You don't have to waste your time try to get over the past thing. Yeah, so this is how you use ABC model. And also we get Aaron Beck and cognitive behavior therapy, thought through unconscious as fraud theory. Just, actually in here, for this backfire, this thing, back to the ABC, but it's a bit, I have a switch here. The negative view about oneself, negative view about the world, and negative view about the future. What do we mean? What do we mean by here? It's negative view about oneself. For example, we make a mistake, and then negative view about the world is not about the really actual world, but your environment specifically. Like when you do a mistake for oneself, and then in the world you will feel like you are useless for the society, maybe, or maybe maybe you are under, you know, um, you uh, you mismanage yourself, and about the future, I think you will chat, you say, oh, I cannot do this again. So this is how we use backfire. So as a summary, thought, state, belief. Everything we thought, everything we think here, up here in our brain here, we create a feeling, we create behavior, and the behavior will reinforce the thought. Meaning that, oh, you will act, or I act like this, or no wonder my thoughts go like this. So that's all from me. My friend will continue for the other slide. I hope you enjoy my slide for today. Thank you. Keep going. All the best for you all.
For my slide, I would like to talk about the behavioral change theory. So behavior change theory are attempts to explain why behavior changes. So these are a few several theories. So the first one is environment, second personal, and the last one is behavior characteristic. So there are a few more about the theories, but this slide I would like to highlight these three theories. So these three theories has a major factor in behavior determination. So nowadays there has been increased interest in the applications of the theories in the area of health, education, criminology, and energy. So it will hope to understand behavior change, improve the service offered in this area. So some scholars have recently introduced a, differentiations between the model of the behavior and the theories of change, whereas model of behavior are more diagnostic and great toward understanding the physiology factor that explains or predict a specific behavior. So the theory of change are more process oriented and generally aims at the changing a given behavior. So thus, from this perspective, understanding and changing behavior are two separate but commonly lines or of scientific investigation. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, for the next topic, we will talk about social cognitive theory, or we can call as SCT. So SCT is used in the physiology field, education and communication that holds that portions of an individual acknowledge accession and can be directly related to observing others within the context social interaction experience and outside media influence. So SCT is applied by Albert Bandura as an extra knowledge of his social learning theory. So when people observing a model performing a behavior and the consequence of the behavior, they will remember the sequence of event and use this information to guide subsequent behavior. People do not learn new behavior solely by training them and either succeeding or failing, but rather the survival of humanity is dependent upon the replication of the action and others. Depending on whether people are rewarded or punished for the behavior and the outcome of the behavior, the observer may choose to replicate behavior model. So the media have provide model for a vast array of people in many different environmental settings.
Okay, next we move to the principle of behavior. For the first one is continuous reinforcement principle. So only positive reinforcement strategy produce long-term attitudinal change. As children grow older and into adulthood, positive behavior is not maintained through the threat of negative consequence. It is maintained because the individual has an internal attitude or value system, which discriminates between right and wrong behavior. In the long term, children behave properly because they want to, not because they are forced to. And number two is successive approximation. So, successive approximation principle to teach a children to act in a manner in which he has seldom or never before behaved. Reward successive steps to final behavior. And the last one is modeling principle. It's for teach a children new ways of behaving. Allow him to observe some person or somebody that have a good attitude to performing their desired behavior. Okay, let's look the principle of cognitive. Today I will describe three principles of cognitive, and number one is focus and purposeful, number two is self-direct, and number three is discover and analysis. So the first one is focus and purposeful. So in this slide, I list three main points for focus and purposeful. Number one is identify, number two is understand, and number three is specific. So first we need to identify the purpose that can we relate to the situation. And number two, what we need to do is understand. Understand the concept, understand the ideas, that they are going to apply in their life. And number 3 is specific. We need to have a clear and specific purpose of all the thing that we want to do before begin anything. So it can help us in get a focus and purposeful. And then the second principle is self-direct. The self-direct principle can achieve by asking for someone who have a more knowledgeable for their expectation, for their guidelines. So we can get the guidance from the pupil, from somebody who have a more knowledgeable. So with a self-direct principle, we can get a own technique from the someone that teach us and have a own pace. That's mean we did not to stress because we didn't have any pressure. And the last one is discovery and analysis. The right question should be posed to stimulate critical thinking and drive the need to find the knowledgeable. So we, either student or not, must get or gain the knowledgeable day by day, because knowledgeable is very important. So especially adults are usually more receptive towards problem, how to overcome the problem effectively. And we need to brave to collaborate our idea with each other